any person who may have committed any crime on the instigation of the defendant. Furthermore, that he did not investigate the lady arrested with the defendant to see if she was aiding the defendant in terrorism activities. PW1 denied knowing if the defendant's name named any other person as a co-conspirator, or if any other person is standing trial on a related charge. PW1 said, from his knowledge, the defendant had the support of persons like Simon Ekpa in his agitation for secession. He said the defendant incited others to destroy public properties. PW1 stated that even though there have been killings in other states, such as Kaduna, Zamfara, as far as he could tell, those killings were not product of agitations for separation. He said he knows that IPOB was prescribed in 2017, but he does not have other details of the matter. PW1 stated that there are people who carried out the order of defendants, including sit-at-home order, in which people have been killed for disobeying the directive. He stated that he is not aware that a charge against the defendant for inciting person to kill military officer was struck out by the court. Under re-examination, PW1 stated that the agitation of the defendant in this case is for a call for separation from the country for the southeastern, south-south, and some north-central states. PW1, Mr. BBB, is an officer of the Department of State Service. He stated that the defendant is a member and leader of prescribed terrorist group called IPOB, which means the indigenous people of Biafra. PW2 also stated that he was assigned to take the statement of the defendant on the 17th day of July 2021, and that the purpose for the statement was for him to answer to the allegation contained in the letter sent to them by the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation. PW2 stated that the defendant is also the founder of Eastern Security Network, which is the armed wing of IPOB, and that he also established and operates Radio Biafra illegally, which was not registered with the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, that the defendant told him all this during their interactions. PW2 further stated that during this interview, he was with his director and 4 other officers, as well as the defendant and 2 of his lawyers, namely Mr. Aloy Ejimako and Abila Tokchak. That the defendant admitted that he made broadcasts inciting people to burn, kill, and collect weapons from police officers wherever they see them. That the defendant also made written statements on the same day. He said the defendant admitted founding the Eastern Security Network, where he ordered his followers to ensure that whoever flouts the sit-at-home order be attacked, and they led to the death of many people, including destruction of properties. PW2 further stated that one of the unfortunate persons who lost his life includes Ahmed Gulak, a former senior special assistant to the President Goodluck Jonathan, who died on 30th May 2021, and also that the defendant made broadcast on the 20th day of October 2020 during the NSAS process, which led to the destruction of properties, including Lagos High Court building in Igbohere, as well as part of the Muritala Mohammed Airport. Further, that the defendant asked the followers to behead any military or police officers, and this led to the killing and beheading of a military couple in Olu, in Imo State. In addition, it was established that a retired judge, Honorable Justice Stanley Nnaji, was also killed as a result of the defendant's broadcast. PW2 stated that the aim of the defendant was the creation of Republic of Biafra by any means possible, including war. Under cross-examination, PW2 stated that the video statement of the defendant was a complete reflection of what transpired during the interview, even though the camera was focused on only the defendant and his counsel. He stated that he does not know if and how long the defendant was kept in solitary confinement prior to the statement being taken. He also said during the interview, defendant did not tell him that he was frustrated or angry. PW2 said further that he is not aware of the content of the charge against the defendant to know if any person was instigated or incited by the defendant to commit any crime. He also stated that he did not know if at the time of the DSS received exhibit PWF, the charges are already been pending against the defendant. PW2 stated that even though the governor of Southwest State formed the Amotekun group to tackle security in their region, he is not aware if the Attorney General of the Federation wrote to the DSS to investigate the activities which led to the formation of Amotekun. He stated that he never listened to Radio Biafra but only got reports from the DSS security platform, where people who are mandated to monitor same put their reports. PW2 said he was not part of the team that arrested the defendant, and he did not investigate the defendant's assertion that he was kidnapped from Kenya, as it was not part of what was related to him by his boss. PW2 explained that extradition is a process of bringing a person from another country to a country to start his trial. PW2 denied that an officer of DSS kidnapped the defendant in Kenya, since they are restricted to only Nigeria. He said Nigeria is a signatory to the United Nations Charter as well as the African Charter, and that many countries got their independence through agitation for self-government. He said there is no country today known as Biafra, even though the Nigerian Civil War was fought on the agitation of people of Southeast attempting to form their own country. He said he does not know if the defendant's home was attacked or that 28 persons were killed. PW2 stated that he visited some of the places that were destroyed as a result of the broadcast of the defendant, such as police station in Ebonyi State. Also, that he is not aware of the status of Sarara reporters and whether it is registered. He said the defendant confirmed that he ordered seats at home in the southeast. PW2 confirmed that General T.Y. Danjuma, retired, has accused the Nigerian security forces of not being neutral. He said he is not aware that the Director General of DSS urged Nigerians to rise up and resist terrorists. He said he is aware that the NSAS movement was never classified as terrorist organization. He said the defendant was and remained a member of IPOB before and after it was. Under re-examination, PW2 stated that Amotekun is not the same as Eastern Security Network, as Amotekun is recognized by law passed by the Houses of Assembly in the Southwest states, while Eastern Security Network is not registered, not recognized by any law, so it is an illegal association. PW3 is Mr. EEE is an operative of the State Security Service and have been with the agency for 27 years. According to him, the defendant is the leader and founder of indigenous According to him, the defendant is the leader and founder of Indigenous People of Biafra, a proscribed terrorist organization, and also served as the director and broadcaster of Radio Biafra, which was used to incite the public. He stated that his first contact with the defendant was on the 21st day of October 2015, when he was instructed to interview the defendant and to take a statement regarding the allegation about his activities in operating Radio Biafra, and also the founder of IPOP. He stated that on the first day, he invited the defendant to the DSS interview room at the national headquarters, where he and 3 other officers interviewed the defendant, and also video recorded of the interview, which defendant consented to. He said the defendant did not reduce his statement in writing until 23rd day of October 2021 due to complaint of his being tired and needing to rest on the 21st day of October. He said the written statements were then signed by the defendant when he finished writing. PW3, in his further testimony, stated that during the interview of 21st day of October 2021, the defendant was confronted with video recording of interview with Sahara reporter. In that video, the defendant was resolute that there must be a change and the change will not come through peaceful means. PW4, Mr. DDD, also officers of the State Security Service and has been in service for 25 years. According to him, the defendant is the founder of IPOP, a terrorist organization calling for the secession of southern, southeastern, south, and states, and some parts of Benue and Kogi from the Federal Republic of Nigeria. PW4 stated that he got to know the defendant in October 2015 when he was arrested by office. Allegations against the defendant include that he was agitating for the secession of Biafra and using Radio Biafra to incite members of IPOP against the Federal Republic of Nigeria. PW4 stated further that on the 20th day of October 2015, through an intelligence, they discovered that the defendant smuggled a radio transmitter without clearance sent to the Nigerian Customs Service, that it was hidden from view using household equipment and was contained in a container. PW4 stated that it was kept in the custody of one Benjamin Madubugu in Anambra. PW4 said he got to know all this when he was handed a video recording when the defendant was seen in the company of the said Benjamin Madubugu inspecting the radio transmitter and taking ownership and declaring it as a game changer, where Radio Biafra will be broadcast through. Following an instruction from his superior, PW4 obtained a search warrant and on the 28th day of October 2025 proceeded to the village where Benjamin Madubugu was and retrieved the radio transmitter. PW4 stated that when they opened the container, they found only the transmitter in it and asked Benjamin what happened to the other items, and he said the defendant came to inspect the radio transmitter with one individual named Chimeze who took the other items away, leaving only the transmitter in the container. He said Benjamin Madubugu wrote a statement on the 3rd day of November 2015 at the DSS headquarters, and he confirmed the result of the search. Benjamin Madubugu, when asked, did not produce any custom paper. Benjamin was initially arraigned along with the defendant until he jumped bail and the case was severed. He said, IPOD has made life difficult in Southeast due to the sit-at-home order of the defendant, as well as the violence unleashed by IPOD. Further, the Eastern Security Network, which is the armed wing of IPOD, bears arms engages in guerrilla warfare, where they attack security agencies such as the police and the Nigerian Army. They also ensure compliance with the sit-at-home order. PW4 stated that in a particular broadcast of 30th day of May 2021, the defendant issued threats that anyone who defies his order of sit-at-home by opening their shop should be killed and the shop burnt. PW4 explained that Ahmed Gulag, the former senior special assistant to the former President Goodluck Jonathan, was killed on the day declared to be a sit-at-home, that he tried to take another route to the airport in Owerri when he was shot by airport terrorists. PW4 said he was the first person at the scene and he found the lifeless body of Gulag on the road. He said that from the feedback they got from residents of Southeast, the sit-at-home order had depleted the economy and activities in Southeast, and the people were living in apprehension for their safety. PW4 also said that he knew one Ikonzo, identified as one of the dreaded commanders of Eastern Security Network, which real name is Kanikayo Andy. He described Ikonzo as a ruthless commander who took direct orders from the defendant. PW4 further stated that Ikonzo was killed on the 24th day of April 2021 after in Olu, Imo State, during which he mobilized Eastern Security Network members and other adherents of IPOD to attack the correctional centers and facilitate the escape of numerous inmates who were in lawful custody. He also attacked the police headquarters, and a lot of police stations or police officers were killed. However, he was involved in a shootout with security operatives after a manhunt was declared on him. The shootout led to his death. PW4 stated further that on the following day, 24th day of April 2021, the defendant made a broadcast in which he declared that Ikonzo would be buried specially in the manner of the Oba of Benin, meaning that he would be buried with human heads. Consequently, the defendant's order is meant to procure human heads for the burial of Ikonzo. The order was carried out by one of his junior commanders named Emeriyi Uzoma Benjamin, known as Oye Ami. That when Oye Ami was arrested, he wrote in his statement that the defendant ordered him to get the heads, but he was only able to secure 30 human heads. At the scene of where the transmitter was kept in the premises of the Department of State Service, PW4 continued its evidence when he stated that the container containing the transmitter was recovered from the premises of one Benjamin Madugu, wherein the defendant had smuggled the radio transmitter into the country. The container also had some household items in it, which were later removed. Upon the matter being adjourned back to the court, PW4 confirmed that Benjamin Madugu indeed made a statement before the DSS. During the statement taken, he had his lawyer, one Vincent Obeta, present with him. PW4 also stated that upon retrieving the radio transmitter, they brought the defendant and Benjamin Madugu together and confronted the defendant with the evidence. He stated that the defendant accepted ownership of the container and that the radio transmitter. He also exonerated Benjamin Madugu by stating that the items were only kept in his house and that Benjamin Madugu does not own the items. PW4 also stated that the DSS wrote to the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission to confirm and come and inspect the transmitter, which they duly came and wrote a report of the findings. The report as read by PW4 is that the station known as Radio Biafra, was not licensed by the Broadcasting Corporation of Nigeria. Neither does he have any permits to operate in Nigeria. That for an organization to bring in a radio transmitter, it must apply for permission from the regulator, who is in turn right to the security agencies such as DSS and the National Security Advisor for clearance before the regulator issue a license to import the transmitter into Nigeria. That in this case, no such license permission was obtained by the defendant before importing this transmitter. PW4 referred to a newspaper story where the defendant had ordered an attack on prison in Owe, in Imo. The defendant had ordered members of IPOD to kill security operatives. Also, that investigation revealed that the defendant having ordered members of IPOD to bury Ikozo in special way by using about 2,000 human heads. His men were only able to get 30 human heads. Efforts were made to arrest these IPOB members in Olu, in a village bordering Anambra Valley. They met some members of IPOB with human heads hanging from a wire mesh, and they also saw some of them eating human flesh, which they claimed was for spiritual fortification. They also saw as well where they dumped victims and beheaded bodies into. PW4 stated that it was part of the operation which comprised the DSS and the Nigerian Army. He also stated that the defendant has never denied making those state broadcasts and was even proud of making them. PW4 also stated that record shows that between 170 and 200 security agents of the federal government were killed by IPOB and Eastern Security Network all over Nigeria. He knows some of these murdered agents, which include his driver, one Shinemere Ereke, and their tactical leader who were killed in Umuma local government area of Imo State. PW4 stated that the defendant was in the habit of making his writing statement ordering his men to carry out attack on security agents as well as political figures such as Hope Uzodinma, the governor of Imo State. He stated that their mode of operation is that they move in group in Siena and other confiscated vehicles, and from there they launch attack on security operatives. They also set up checkpoints where they hijack other vehicles in good working condition. This attack on